A successful SEO strategy can completely transform your SaaS business. Canva, HubSpot, Zapier are all billion-dollar businesses growing mainly with SEO. Even smaller businesses are quietly generating thousands of customers each day with SEO without spending a dime on Facebook or Google ads. So how do they do it? Over the past decade in SEO, I've generated millions in revenue for the businesses I've worked with while building my own 7-figure business through organic search. And there are 3 specific parts to a billion-dollar SEO strategy for SaaS. So in this video, I'm going to reveal those 3 parts, the biggest mistakes I'm seeing software businesses make, and the shortcuts to start ranking #1 on Google search for any search term. So for the first part, it's the foundation for any decent SEO strategy. It's having strategic content strategy. And while this seems straightforward, I've seen businesses get it wrong time and time again. Here's the issue. Most businesses know they need to produce content, so they flood their website with random articles with no intentionality and no strategy. They're not strategic. It's more like a spray and pray approach. The really bad ones are pumping out hundreds of AI-generated articles thinking they're going to get quick results. This turns into too many pages targeting the wrong keywords and no clear conversion path for users. When and if they get traffic, they complain it doesn't convert and SEO is a waste of time, which is totally false. For the SaaS businesses I work with, my 3-step approach to content is very surgical and meticulous, though it is also simple, which is why it works. You see, the first step is what I call bottoms-up keyword targeting. When it comes to keywords, there's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, and what I like to call the end of funnel. Now, I'm going to get into what end of funnel is and why that's important in a second, but let me ask you a quick question. When was the last time someone sold something to you you didn't actually want? How did that make you feel? Not great, right? Probably a little annoyed. You see, they tried to sell you a solution you didn't have a problem for. Now, imagine this. You have a SaaS business and you want to drive more revenue. And you start researching, well, how do I get more customers? You Google it. How do I get more customers for a SaaS business? Google presents you with some articles that outlines ways to get new customer. In one of those articles, you learn that cold email outreach can work. You then search best cold email outreach tool. You see 3 brands and they all look pretty similar. So you start searching brand X versus brand Y, and then you end up buying a subscription with brand X because, hey, they have some features you probably like. Then you start Googling, how do I set up email scheduling with brand X? See what's happening here? This is the marketing funnel in action. You went from problem aware to solution aware, and then searching for information about the specific solution you chose. For my keyword strategy, I advise clients to go straight to the bottom in the middle of the funnel. End of funnel is after you've converted someone, and content for these folks is important to help with retention. So if you want me to go more into that, leave a comment down below. But for now, let's just focus on bottom of funnel and middle of funnel keyword strategy. So in my example, if I was advising the business selling this cold email tool, I would tell them to produce content targeting keywords like best cold email outreach tool and comparison guides. Traffic from these keywords will yield a higher return sooner because users already have the problem and they're in search of a solution. This is what the SaaS tool Signwell is doing with their page DocuSign alternative. People who are looking for DocuSign need an e-signature software. Signwell doesn't have to convince people that signing documents online is easy because they believe that already. Signwell just needs to convince the users that their solution is the best one for them. And that's the job of content in your SEO strategy. So I like to advise SaaS businesses I work with to produce pages targeting keywords like X versus Y, X alternative, best X for Y, and feature their product as the solution just like Signwell did. Okay, so you've picked the keywords you want to target. What's next? Well, you got to produce the content, right? And that brings me to the second part in the content strategy, and that's content production. Well, how do you produce the content? Should you have a writer write it? Should you have AI produce it? The way I see it, you have 3 options. You can have a human write it, you can have AI write it, or you can programmatically produce it with tech. Well, what do I recommend you do? Well, there's the approach that most businesses do, and then there's the advanced approach. Here's what I mean by that. Here's an article on page SEO from a SEO SaaS tool, Ahrefs. I like using Ahrefs as an example because they do so many things right with their SEO strategy. And this is 90% of the content I see when looking at businesses trying to execute SEO. So the way it works is you find a keyword with search traffic, and then you have a subject matter expert. In this case, you have Ryan Law with Ahrefs produce a piece of optimized content for it. And this is what I recommend the vast majority of SaaS businesses do. But then how does AI fit into this? Well, overall, I do not recommend you actually use AI to produce content for topics where there's any nuance or expertise required. Explaining what and how to master on-page SEO is a very nuanced topic that would be better if it came from someone with expertise, which is what Ahrefs did. If they let AI write it, most likely it would be copying from other people and what they said on the topic topic, potentially inaccurately, rather than adding anything new to the conversation. And I'm gonna get into this more later, but this could actually end up hurting Ahrefs' brand and likely diminishing the results they get from SEO. When it comes to content, Google has specific parts of its algorithm looking for new perspectives, which only humans can produce. Google refers to this new perspectives as information gain in some of its patents. Because AI pulls from the data it was trained on, by definition, AI content isn't new and likely lacks information gain. But the answers are more straightforward, then you can leverage a more AI-assisted content production process where you're prompting an LLM with a question and then have a subject matter expert enrich the piece after the fact. Here's an example of this from Ahrefs again. I love the Ahrefs examples. This is a page from their SEO glossary where they define common SEO terms. Now, I love this as a content strategy, but the page itself is a perfect example where AI can help speed up the production process. And this approach is going to be a lot more Google safe and get you a lot further along. But then there's a more advanced approach to content production. To illustrate, let's have a look at a SaaS business, Zapier, which is a platform that helps integrate SaaS tools. If you look at some of their pages like active campaign integration, you'll start to notice something. Maybe you'll see it. Let's look at another page, MailChimp integration. Are you starting to see it popping out at you? Zapier has implemented what I like to call a product-led programmatic SEO strategy. It's a mouthful, but what is it? Well, let's look closely because every page that I just showed you, it's all templatized. If you go to the other pages on their site, it's all the same. Just the logos are being swapped around. And this page itself is an extension of their core product, which is integrating tools. Zapier has thousands of these. It probably took Zapier's engineers some time to build these templates, but seconds to roll out the thousands of iterations. Each page maps strategically to keywords people are actually searching for in Google. Just the keyword MailChimp integration has 150 monthly searches. Now, that's not a ton, but when you multiply that by hundreds or thousands of these types of pages, which is typical of a programmatic SEO strategy, you can start to see just how massive of source of traffic this can be. And to be clear, I would consider the MailChimp integration keyword to be a middle of funnel keyword because there's a lot of intent behind it. People are very much problem aware and looking for a solution. Zapier gives users a clear conversion pathway that maps perfectly to what users want. In this case, subscribe to a free trial to Zapier to integrate MailChimp with other apps. Because have you ever been on a page where there was no clear next step, nothing next to do? How frustrating is that from a user? Searching for the get started button like you're looking for buried treasure on an island. I see this all the time with businesses. You go through all this hard work to figure out what to write, create the content, only to fumble the ball on the 1 yard line when you're actually trying to convert that traffic. And that brings me to the third successful piece of a content strategy, and that's to give users a clear conversion pathway. As a SaaS, for every piece of content on your site, you should have a clear strategy to turn that visitor into a potential customer. What do I mean by this? Well, going back to the Zapier example, every single one of those integration pages pushes a user to sign up for a free trial. This is what I like to call direct positioning. Zapier built their product to map to this search volume and then intelligently placed free trial call to action because to integrate MailChimp, you need Zapier's service. Now there's also indirect position. Going back to Ahrefs, nearly all of the content on Ahrefs has screenshots from their product as a part of the content. So a user would Google on-page SEO, spend time reading their guide and learning about on-page SEO, but Ahrefs is using their product to educate the reader. This is an extremely smooth, soft sell of Ahrefs to a user. It's sort of like silently selling. Naturally, the user is going to want to sign up for Ahrefs now that they know how to do on-page SEO with Ahrefs' tool. And then there's contextual positioning, which is kind of a hybrid between direct and indirect. Here's an example of this with Webflow, a SaaS that helps businesses build websites. On this page about student portfolio examples, you can see that Webflow has a call to action to start a 21-day portfolio course. Webflow does a great job inserting contextually relevant call to actions to turn search traffic into customers. Now, contextually relevant just means that the call to action makes sense on the page. Webflow is trying to convince the reader to build their portfolio with Webflow. By making the call to action contextually relevant, it's going to improve the conversion rate. Here's another page on Webflow optimized for the keyword best freelance websites with a different call to action. Now, this call to action would be even stronger if Webflow tweaked the language to match the title of the page to something like create a freelance website in seconds using Webflow. Hopefully, you're starting to see how a SaaS business should be using content to support an SEO strategy. But again, that's just content. There are still two other important pieces to get right here to make SEO work because you need all three to win long-term and build a traffic generating engine. And that brings me to part number 2. This is the part that 99% of SaaS businesses get completely wrong. And that seems super hard, but in reality, you can actually put it on autopilot if you pull the right levers. And without this, none of the content you just spent all this time producing thing will matter, and that's having an organic link building strategy. Link building is a critical piece of any SEO strategy because it gets Google search engines to notice your website. You see, crawling the web is super expensive. Google is a business and it wants to serve the best search results for the lowest amount of money. How do they do this? Well, they use links. Links to your website are like internet votes. When you publish great content and websites link to you, it's like you're getting a lot of internet votes that suggests your content is awesome and valuable. Websites without links are crawled less frequently by search engines or even potentially ignored completely. And if you've ever tried to build links before, you know it can be very difficult and very time consuming. So how can you organically build links to your SaaS business? When it comes to building links, there are 3 approaches I recommend SaaS businesses implement. Let me walk you through some examples. Let's start with the SaaS application CoSchedule. CoSchedule is a marketing calendar app getting thousands of visits each day from SEO. And I don't know about you, but there are a lot of social media scheduling applications out there. What options does CoSchedule have to stand out in such a crowded market? Well, they did something super smart and launched Headline Analyzer, a super simple tool that probably took the engineering team just a couple days to build, but it can help marketers create better headlines. Well, what did they get for this effort? Over 2,600 links or votes. I've been doing this a long time, and that's a lot. And this brings me to approach number 1. That's build free tools. Here's what I mean. I typically advise SaaS businesses go into community forums to see what questions people are asking and if you can build a free tool to solve their problem. If you identify some small task that can be solved with an online tool, build it and then share it in these communities. Now, technically, this isn't completely organic because you have to do some initial promotion, but you need to just send it around and then it'll start to pick up organic shares and word of mouth will start to take effect and the links will just roll in. And for CoSchedule, not only is this tool generating links and traffic, but it's effectively turning that traffic into leads and customers. If you look closely, they built a conversion pathway into their link building asset. How cool is that? Here's another example from Reply.io, which is an AI sales platform. They created a free email signature app and it generated 145 links. Another example, Canva.com. I would consider Canva to be a massive juggernaut in the SaaS space, especially when it comes to SEO. There's a lot you can learn about effective SaaS SEO strategy by studying Canva. If you take a closer look at their website, they have all these free tools, free signature app, color palette generator, AI photo enhancer, all free, all generating links. It's clear that free tools are a core part of Canva's SEO strategy and it's working. But building free tools, it's only half the story. Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to promote these tools at all? If you did a little research, built a free tool, and then the links just came in on their own without you having to lift a finger. And that brings me to approach number 2, tools as a content strategy. What this means is that you build linkable tools, you get inbound links because people find it through Google search. What CoSchedule, Reply.ai, and Canva are all doing. During your keyword strategy, all you need to do is identify keywords you could create content for with tools instead of written words. When someone Googles color palette generator, Canva's tool is there, and then over time, they will naturally pick up links organically. Now, you may be asking yourself, do I need to build free tools to get organic links? That seems pretty hard. And the answer is actually no. You can have writers publish articles that are mapped to keywords that are likely to generate links too. Examples of this include statistics pages and trends pages. This is the exact SEO strategy for explodingtopics.com, a trend analysis SaaS tool with their own successful SEO strategy that was recently acquired by SEMrush, another tool in their space. The reason these work is because journalists need sources to link to in their stories. So if you create resources they can cite, you'll start to pick up links organically without needing to build a tool. And that brings me to the 3rd dimension of a well-rounded organic link building strategy for SaaS businesses, and that's data studies as a content strategy. Now, data studies sound intimidating, but in reality, it's just creating a story out of the data your SaaS tool already accumulates. During keyword research, you would look for keywords in your niche with the word trends or statistics in them, and then create a data study as the content. Many SaaS tools create a lot of interesting first-party data as a byproduct of being a SaaS tool. Again, data studies work because if you create them, journalists and websites in your niche are likely to cite them in their own articles or share them on social media. For example, Ahrefs is an SEO tool and has a lot of data on ranking information. So they created an article around keyword statistics, which gets thousands of monthly searches. Who do you think is doing all of those searches? Typically journalists looking to cite articles for their research. For that article, they actually got picked up on entrepreneur.com and cited as a source. It's entirely possible, in fact, probably likely that the author of the entrepreneur.com piece actually found the Ahrefs article after doing a search for the keyword SEO statistics. Empire Flippers, which is a marketplace for users to buy and sell digital businesses, takes a slightly different approach to data studies, but it still works. Empire Flippers has a lot of data around which businesses are selling, for how much, how frequently. They package up all of that data into a state of an industry report. They then promote this to their email subscribers on social media, and that turns into organic shares and then natural link pickups. Just like the CoSchedule headline analyzer tool, this can also double as a great lead generator because people who read this are naturally going to want to do business with Empire Flippers. Here's another example from an email marketing tool, mailgun.com. Each year, they publish a state of email marketing report that gets dozens of links and shared across social media. And for the SaaS businesses I work with, I always recommend doing some kind of state of X study, then pushing it out via a press release service, and also emailing it to journalists who cover your space. Tools like Cision, Muckrack, and Just Reach Out, all great for contacting and pitching journalists. Once you do this initial email blast, there should be an organic snowball effect where the links start to come in. But here's the thing about these reports is that they make great link magnets, but they also serve another hidden purpose. Here's what I mean by that. Imagine you're walking through a shop, going through the aisles, looking for a pair of new earbuds. You glance and you see two products on the shelf. Which one do you pick? At first glance, they look nearly identical. You look again and you see the brand names of each product. If you set aside the price, which one would you choose? Which brand do you trust more? Now, if you ask most SEOs, they would tell you good SEO strategy is all about producing great content and building quality links. And maybe 5 years ago, I would have agreed with that, but times have changed. SEO is more competitive than it's ever been. There are approximately 252,000 new websites being made each day and millions of new pages being published each day, especially now with AI content making content production easier than it's ever been. The proverbial shelves are full of millions of pieces of content that all look basically the same. So what do? Well, that brings me to the third and possibly the most important facet of SEO strategy in today's world, and that's branding. Now, before you jump out of the screen and attack me like, what's branding? Wait, branding? How does that fit into an SEO strategy? Let me explain. Brand has this hidden impact on whether you're able to dominate in the search results or basically get no results. Those state of the industry reports from Empire Flippers and Mailgun, they get links and shares, but they're also positioning the brand as an authority in the space. Their logos and brand names become more and more recognizable. You may not have noticed, but Google is making those little brand icons in the search results bigger and bigger each year. Those are called favicons, and every single website should have one. So how this can play out is when users in your niche are searching for information and they see your logo, they are more likely to skip over your competitors and click on your website because, again, they recognize your logo. This sends signals to Google that your website deserves to be higher in the search results through better click-through rate. And the benefits of investing in brand for an SEO strategy doesn't stop there. A good brand also results in more users literally Googling your brand plus keyword for their searches. There are some SEOs who believe that this is actually another ranking factor that helps Google weed out illegitimate businesses in the search results. Better brand also has some indirect impacts on your SEO strategy because your content is more likely to get shared and your email open rates are going to start going up. And then people are going to start sharing your free tools or data studies. So how do you build a brand? With branding, there's so much you can do. What should you do? What is going to move the needle the best? Well, after being in SEO for 10 years, there's 3 things that stand out as being the most effective when it comes to SEO. But before you can even get into those 3 things, you have to step back and ask yourself, what do I want my brand to be known for? For Ahrefs, it's probably something like SEO expertise or excellent SEO tools. For Empire Flippers, it's maybe the best place to buy and sell digital businesses. For Mailgun, perhaps it's top tier email deliverability. The state and the industry reports are a great start to help with positioning. But the first thing I recommend all SaaS businesses do is to start building a community around your tool. Building a community does 3 things. Number 1, it teaches people how to use your tool. Number 2, it allows you to get real-time feedback on your tool. And number 3, other people who are using your tool can start networking with each other because they're all in the same space and they're all using your tool and they have all of this already in common. Go High Level, a CRM SaaS tool for agencies, does a phenomenal job using a community to help educate its users on how to use their tool to maximize earnings as an agency. Kajabi, a membership SaaS, uses a community to help their users make more money selling information products. A network effect can also start to kick in where community becomes a destination known for getting better at a certain skill. Can you imagine if your community was the one that everyone knew about in the space and they would search for it? You would include a link to that community on your site and people are going to start Googling your brand plus community to get to this community. That's going to be good for your SEO. Now, I recommend setting up a community on Facebook or Circle. Now, the tool itself doesn't matter that much, but just have somewhere to bring people. And when new users are onboarding into your platform, ask them to join. There is a little bit of investment on the part of the business to ensure you're answering questions and being active in this community, but it's well worth the effort. Now, the second thing all SaaS businesses should be doing to help build a brand is to start a podcast. Podcasts are great at associating your brand with a particular conversation. You can invite guests in your space, talk on the subject matter, which those guests typically share the episodes with their audience. For example, with Mailgun, they have a podcast called Emails Not Dead. They have conversations with people in the email marketing industry. Empire Flippers has a podcast inviting guests to talk about business transactions. Ahrefs has a podcast to talk about digital marketing. Podcast episodes are great link magnets as the listeners share those conversations, so make sure to publish those episodes on your websites. The guests themselves will also sometimes link too. To start a podcast, just buy a decent USB mic, plug it into your computer, and sign up for a platform like Riverside.fm and hit record. In the beginning, you can literally just have the founder or a marketing leader talk about industry news and their thoughts on what's going on. Then when you have a few episodes, invite some guests to speak. Because you're leading a SaaS app in your space, you already have automatic credibility. People are going to listen. And when you're done recording, you can publish your podcasts on Libsyn or Transistor to generate an RSS feed that will then allow you to syndicate your podcast on Apple and Spotify or other platforms. I would also recommend you publish a video version on YouTube. And when the podcast is published, share the podcast with your customers. Ask for reviews. This will not only be able to help you build your brand, but you're going to start to see some leads coming from it as well. Now, the third way to build your brand for SEO is to pick one social media channel and go all in on it. In general, I recommend YouTube to be that channel, but it's not for the reason you might think. You see, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, they're all great and can help with branding, but the reach and type of person on YouTube tends to be the most valuable to businesses. The average TikTok viewer watches something like 5 to 20 seconds per video, where YouTube could be 5, 8, or even 10 minutes per video, depending on how long your videos are. Users are spending an incredible amount of time with you and your brand if you're on YouTube. And it doesn't stop there, because YouTube synergizes incredibly well with an SEO strategy. Why is that? Well, let's actually go back to the beginning where I was talking about Signwell and their SEO strategy. You see, they had a page charting DocuSign alternative, and it's not ranking super well, something like position 7 to 10. Now, imagine if they had a corresponding YouTube video talking about DocuSign alternatives published at the top of this page. This is going to do a couple things. Number one, it's going to help Signwell with their dwell time metric, which we know Google looks at to rank pages. Now, if you're not familiar, dwell time is just how long users are staying on your page after they come to your website from Google. If users come to your website and then immediately leave, that's bad. That's going to result in really low dwell time. Videos can help with this. Number two, it's going to organically grow their YouTube channel for Signwell. You're basically showing YouTube the type of people interested in the kind of content Signwell is publishing, which will result in better suggestions to similar users on YouTube's platform. So when Signwell goes to post their next video, it should have more organic reach. And number three, putting a YouTube video up there is going to convert more users into Signwell customers. Overlow, a dropshipping SaaS, reported that over 50% of users view explainer videos before purchasing a service or product. HubSpot reported that explainer videos are capable of increasing product sales by up to 20%. And Wisel, a video creation software, reported in a recent survey that 83% of respondents say that video gives them a good return on investment. Now, there's good news in that the same equipment you need for podcasts, you can also use to record YouTube videos. How this would work in practice is that I would recommend you do your SEO strategy and your keyword strategy, and then publish a corresponding YouTube video and embed it on your page. Look, branding occurs with nearly every single touch point you have with a customer, even if it's small. This includes the emails you send, blog posts, customer service interactions. Every single touch point with people who engage with your brand is a chance to do branding and associate your brand with a topic you want to be known for. If you do it right, you're going to reap the SEO benefits when users end up searching for things in your niche and skip over your competitors and click your result. Another example of a website infusing branding into its SEO strategy is naplab.com, who is a tiny mattress review site ranking well among juggernauts. I actually have a video on NapLab you can check out next. And if you're interested in working with me to help build your SEO strategy for your SaaS business or any business, there's a link down in the description below to book a call. I'll see you in the next one.